This is the Farms.com Soybean Report, brought to you by Mycogen Seeds. Mycogen Seeds, driven by your success.
Hi, my name is Loucas with Dow AgroSciences. I'm an agronomist, and we're here today to learn about how to choose the right soybean variety for your field. Obviously today we're at the Outdoor Farm Show, so we're in the Mycogen plot here at the Farm Show. But before we're going to look at any beans, we need to do a little bit of homework. And you need to understand your farming operation a little bit to make your decision for picking a soybean variety the best one you can. So what we'd like you to do is, first of all, know your fields, know your rotation strategy, know which fields you're going to plant into soybeans the next year, or your hybrids as well, your corn. Know where your crops are going to go for that year, so you know the history of the field, you know the history of the rotation that's been in that field. So you can make the best decision and put the best variety you can in the best location. So you need to know your soil types. It's best to have a soil test done maybe once in the last 3 years to know your fertility levels, know your soil conditions. Most importantly for soybeans, you want to have an SCN test. So SCN is soybean cyst nematode. It's a little tiny worm that's in the soil. And there are resistance genes for SCN. So if you know that you have a problem, it's best to find that out before you start, and then you can choose a resistant variety. So that you can do while you're doing your soil test. Other than that, you just need to know your rotations so you have an idea of your disease history in the field. Once you know all that information, we have most seed guides provide. We have it in our seed guide. We have an agronomy chart. So listed in here are a lot of agronomic information that you can use to choose your soybeans. So most companies will provide agronomic information in your seed guide. We at Mycogen, we have a chart that you can look through. You can look up various disease characteristics in there. There's Phytophthora resistance genes listed in there, Phytophthora tolerance. There's SCN resistance genes are listed in there, as well as some other diseases, white mold, that kind of thing. The other important thing to note from that chart is we talk about the soybeans, and we're standing here in our plot at the farm show, and this is a good place to come and have a look at the beans and look through that chart, and you can look at the canopy type. There's thin canopy beans, which is a bean that doesn't branch too much. So that would be a bean that you want to plant on a narrow row situation, maybe a 15-inch row, but wouldn't really be suited for a 30-inch row. The other thing we list is a bean that maybe has a medium bushy canopy, or a tall bean. Something like that does a little better on a wider row situation, and all that information is in the book, as well as when you're coming here you can walk through the beans and have a look and see how they do. Here we plant them on 30-inch rows, but you can also go to your local plot. If you have a dealer nearby or somebody who's put a plot in, you can always go walk through there. Guys are always looking forward to people who like to come through and look at their beans in the plot and see how they do on different row strategies, and just get an idea of how that bean's going to grow in your farming situation. So here we have a good example of a thin soybean. Its canopy type is called a thin, and so it doesn't branch too much. So this was on a 30-inch row. We got a couple little branches here, but mostly it's an upright plant, and there is a little bit of space in between the plants in the row. So this would be recommended for a narrow row or a 15-inch row, but you would have problems getting that canopy filled on a 30-inch row. Something like this is an example of a bean that has a branchy canopy, and so it's on a 30-inch row, and we've got some nice branches coming out here. It's getting a little floppy, but you can see you've got pods all the way out on the branches. That's what you want, because you're going to get some extra yield there when you're on the wide rows, and that's going to fill in your row nicely, cover it up, keep the weeds down, and give you a nice yield in the fall.
This has been the Farms.com Soybean Report, sponsored by Mycogen Seeds.